top 10 right fielders of 2024, but as we go through this, I'm going to compare this list to my preseason top 10 and see where we went right and where we went wrong. And of course, we got to start out by looking at the players that I put in the preseason top 10 who were not top 10 right fielders during the year. Person we have to start that discussion with is Jordan Walker. He played 50 games, he had a negative WAR, and he got sent to the minor leagues. That's about as bad as it can possibly get, and yeah, that's definitely not a top 10 right fielder. He was our preseason number 10. My preseason number 9 was Riley Green, and he failed to make this list as well, but for a very different reason than why Jordan Walker failed to make this list. Riley Green failed to be on here because, well, he's the number 2 left fielder in all of baseball, and he didn't play right field that much this year. And similarly, Corbin Carroll, who was our preseason number 4, he played more games in center field, and he was our number 2 center fielder of the 2024 year. And then, of course, there's Ronald Acuna Jr., who was our preseason number 1, and obviously he played only 49 games, so he can't be in this list either. Our preseason number 7 was Josh Lowe, who missed major time with an injury, and when he was healthy, his bat just didn't live up to what we expected for him. And our preseason number 6 was Adolis Garcia, and this one is really disappointing, as it was just a disastrous year for Adolis on all levels. Really, a negative 11 run value at the plate. I mean, we did not expect him to hit like that. Negative 2 run value on the base path, negative 12 outs above average defensively. That just won't cut it. Just bad on all ends of the game. Now, to finally get to our top 10, we will start this off with Lars Nootbaar, who was our preseason number 4 left fielder, but he ended up playing more games in right field. And while he did miss a good bit of time, he played very solid when he was on the field. And hopefully in 2025, we'll just get to see him healthy and on the field a little bit more. But for now, he's the number 10 right fielder. And then the number 9 spot is George Springer, who I thought had a terrible and a disastrous 2024 season, but that kind of shows the current weakness of the right field position, which is not something that we've dealt with in years past, as there used to be so many stars in right field where these guys could have never made this list, because usually we have guys like Aaron Judge on this list, we have Mookie Betts on this list, we have guys like Corbin Carroll on this list, Bryce Harper, Teoscar Hernandez, right? All those guys used to be right fielders, and they're not on this list anymore because they're playing other positions and stuff like that. So now, as you can see with the number 10 and the number 9 spot here, right field is a lot weaker than what it used to be. Now, George Springer did have some decent run production, and he came in as about a league average hitter despite the incredibly cold start to the year. He runs the bases well, and he doesn't have bad defense either. But then at the number 8 spot, we have Wilyer Abreu of the Boston Red Sox. Now, he failed to get a lot of run production, but a WRC plus of 114 is a solid above average hitter. He's great on the base path, and he's great defensively, and he's really the first player on this list who I feel comfortable saying had a really good year. And then at the number 7 spot, we have Fernando Tatis Jr., who was my preseason number 3. He missed time and only got to play 102 games, so that held him back a little bit too, but his bat was absolutely incredible. Weirdly enough, coming off of a year where he won the Platinum Glove, his defense was actually atrocious. But the bat carried, got him on this top 10. Jake McCarthy of the Arizona Diamondbacks, though, grabs the number 6 spot. And he took the spot of Corbin Carroll when Corbin Carroll went to center field to take the spot of Alek Thomas. But McCarthy really stepped up when he got the chance to play and was a big part of why the Arizona Diamondbacks had the number 1 offense in all of baseball, as he had more run production than Tatis and Wilyer Abreu. He also had the most stolen bases of any right fielder on this list, and he plays incredible defense. And then at the number 5 spot, we have Lawrence Butler, and I was very impressed with the year that Lawrence Butler had. Offensively, he was spectacular and really good on the base path too. What a breakout for him, and I think he became my favorite right fielder in the league this year. But then at the number 4 spot, we have Seiya Suzuki, our preseason number 8. First guy on this list with over 70 runs and 70 RBIs. He also had an offensive run value of 28, which is the highest by a right fielder so far. Then we have Anthony Santander at the number 3 spot. Obviously, he was a big offensive contributor to the Baltimore Orioles this year, but I think he stepped up really to the next level because we know he's been a big part of this offense for years now, but when his production had 44 home runs, which was the most by a right fielder, 90 runs scored and over 100 RBIs, then you factor in, well, he doesn't strike out a lot, but then when you factor in, and this really is my personal favorite thing about Anthony Santander, is he's just really clutch, and you may not have seen that as much this year, and that doesn't factor into a ranking, but it's part of what makes Anthony Santander such a special player, is you know he's going to step up for you in the big moments. Then at the number 2 spot, we have Kyle Tucker, our preseason number 5, and he missed a lot of time. But when he played, he looked like an MVP, and that's really a level of play that nobody else on this list up to this point has accessed at any point in 2024. But then the number 1 right fielder also accessed this level of play, and they did it for an entire year, and that's Juan Soto. He was our preseason number 2. Unfortunately, he doesn't run the bases well, and he's not great defensively, but his bat is just so incredible. I mean, it's like a mile above every other right fielder. And the one right fielder that does hit as well as him, Kyle Tucker, only played half the year. So that makes Juan Soto the top right fielder of 2024. And that will conclude our list. Make sure to come back next time when we reveal the top 10 DHs of 2024. And then, of course, later on, we're going to come back around and give our preseason top 10 before going into the 2025 season.